Today is one of those days where I want to vlog, but I'm also like not wanting to vlog. I feel like the negativity is very strong, the anxiety is very strong. I'm feeling too in my head, and it's a lot harder to just pull out the camera and just do it. So I came up here where it's a lot more quiet and there's less people. But I guess it's not about being perfect every time. I mean, there's gonna be those worst days. And I mean, I had to come up here to an area that had less people to feel more comfortable starting up. But even now that I just started up, I already feel a lot better and can probably fare better down there. But we'll see. I've been getting a bit sick to the stomach from the food I've been eating. The street food's been a little too sloppy for my stomach bacteria. But I have a plan, and let me show you what my plan is. So I'm not sure if it's actually a knockoff or not, because I looked it up, and Church's Chicken in the US, the full name is Church's Texas Chicken. So it could be that it's actually the real Church's Chicken, but I'm gonna go in and find out. Alright, they had a Mexicana burger which has tortilla chips in it. Wanted to give that a try. Mashed potatoes, nice piece of chicken. It was 27 RM, which is about $5 to $6 USD. I realize I feel anxious. I feel less anxious talking while eating by myself and recording myself, but definitely still feels weird. And because it feels weird, I want to push myself to do it anyways. I think I'll record myself for a little while. It's actually pretty good. It kind of tastes like I'm eating Taco Bell. One of the things my brain nags me about is that my content isn't exciting enough. But I don't think I want to be exciting. I want my content to be interesting. But it's impossible for it to be interesting to everyone. I want it to be interesting to myself, and then through my interest, people will resonate with that. Whoever chooses to listen will listen, who doesn't want to. Whoever doesn't want to won't. I think my brain nags me a lot about not doing cool shit or being low mood or whatever, but I've set out to be honest and authentic. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I like to stick to what's free and accessible for me and the things I actually want to do. I think that's of utmost importance. Something was a little suspicious about that guy. A bunch of people were walking up to the group of foreigners asking for like money, and that guy right there in the crutch, like I saw him like literally just walk up to them, then he kept walking to me. I mean, maybe he's like not fully disabled, but I don't know, something was a little fishy there for me. Maybe I'm being too skeptical though. I've heard about like crime networks or like gangs that like intentionally like mutilate or like kind of like injure, I guess, people they've human trafficked, and then set them up in like tourist areas to make money. And so that's definitely what was coming to mind, but it could be that I'm just being too skeptical, but I don't know. I saw the man with the crutches start talking with a dude across the street who was also begging for money. Maybe they just know each other, but a little odd. been a pretty sedentary day, so I wanted to come out and do something, see something. And just a couple of days ago, like my last upload, I saw a mosque, a Hindu temple, and like Buddhist temples / shrines. And I mentioned in the description Chinese Catholic Church. And on my way to Little India, on the way there, I'm passing the church right now. There's a lot more negativity and anxiety just being in my head when I take some days off, or I don't know, practice my vlogging, or if I'm just feeling kind of shit for other reasons. And today's been one of those days, but compared to how I was feeling this morning, I'm definitely feeling better. And I think just through having that awareness over time, I'll keep improving my mental state and my relationship with content and just getting better, I think. I think an important reminder for myself is to ask myself, what do I want to do? Rather than thinking about what do everyone else want to do, what do people want to see? And who knows, I don't know what people want to see. All I know is what I want. And if I know what I want and I'm interested in what I go see, that's when my best, most natural content will be formed. Incense on an old melon or something? I think I'm approaching the area that is Little India. Lighting sucks on my phone. I've never been to India. I would be interested in going at some point. This might be the best opportunity I have yet to get a sense of what it feels like if I was in India. Maybe. Awareness really is the most important part, because even just having more awareness now, I'm catching myself when it is that my brain is like just being super nitpicky and like shitting on myself for like being like, oh, like why do you say that, like it's so dumb, like what about this, what about that, like people think it is, people think of that. I guess another one would be like, oh, you sound this, you sound that, you sound like a dumbass, you sound dumb, you sound ignorant, blah blah blah, all this shit. You sound like such a tourist. Which makes sense, I am a tourist. Maybe I am done, maybe I am ignorant. So what? I mean, we're all human, we're all just doing our best. You can't know everything about every place, about every culture, no matter how much you travel and learn and study and research. I assume this might be for washing your feet. Yeah, it looks like it is. I think you wash your feet before going in, it seems, if I had to guess. And it makes sense that I don't know much about Indian culture. There's quite a few Indians in the US, but I do have one really good friend that's Indian. Shout out to my boy. But it wasn't until even like a few years ago that I realized I really like Indian food. I had Indian food once when I was like a kid, or like a teen, and I thought I didn't like it. I thought I didn't like Indian food because like, I don't know, I got food poisoned or vomited or something, I don't know. And so for like a decade I went without ever trying it again. And then eventually I did in college, and I realized it's really freaking good. So I'll definitely be grabbing some Indian food at some point here. And I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Our negative brains, and it's not even just our brains, I mean, we get it externally, we get it from people and the people around us and the internet. Not everyone, but a lot of people can be very toxic, and that's what sticks with you. And it affects your perception. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even make sense. Like, it's all subjective. Like, the super critical, super negative, super pessimistic shit, it's just one way to look at it. It's the worst way to look at it. It's the most negative way to look at it. But there's no reason that we have to hold ourselves to that and to be so critical and strict of ourselves. And it's typically ourselves. Like, I mean, for me, like, that input, the stimuli, the negative people around my life, most of them are gone and have been for a couple years now, if not more. But it still sticks with me, and you know, it's something you have to unlearn. But ultimately, it's up to us to be aware and to train ourselves to unlearn that type of shit. Earlier today at Texas Chicken, one of the workers was deaf, and it seemed like a couple of her friends or maybe other customers that were also deaf showed up, and they were like super excited to see each other and very expressive, and they were doing like hand signals and stuff. But it made me a little emotional, honestly. And you know, I think we all struggle, and sometimes we beat ourselves up for being in better positions than other people and for comparing ourselves to other people. But I mean, we're all on our own journey, and we can just do our best, and we all get dealt different cards, but ultimately it's about focusing on what you do have and not what you're lacking. And I guess that's like the way to be content. To be content with your life. And I guess I try to apply that with my travels. I try to just focus on what's free, what's nearby, talking with people, just making connections, and not worrying so much about seeing everything and the fear of missing out and stuff like that. You can't smell what I can smell, but I'll tell you that it smells like Indian food, and it's great. I thought I was in Little India, or I think I'm in oh my gosh. I think I'm in Little India, but behind me there's a mosque and a Chinese temple. Sometimes the fast food places in the US, like their foreign versions, are way higher end and sound way more appetizing. It's so interesting how like the faces of the people in these look like very local, and like in China, like in Chinese like Catholic churches and stuff, like the Virgin Mary might be Chinese, or Jesus might look Chinese and stuff like that. It's always very interesting to see. Trash service is looking a little overdue here. Man, sometimes I feel like I just saw like a dude like riding a motorcycle with a monkey on his lap. And it's times like that when I'm like, damn, like I should just be filming at all times. Or at least when I'm intending to vlog. it looks like I finally arrived to Little India, but I'm already really tired, and I thought I was already in Little India. Excuse me? You speak English?
Yes.
Do I just grab a plate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, there. And then I stick
yes,
it.
yes.
Bit of a hectic eating environment, but if you want to eat for cheap, these fast food places are the best way to do it. There's a lot of fast food places similar to that spot I went to, where they give you like a slip and they write down how much your dish costs. But the way they do it is a worker will look at it and they'll write down like a number just off the top of their head based on like how much food you got, because it's self-serve. I think I swallowed a bone. And then they'll write down the number and that's how much you owe at the end.